Morning, everyone. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about finding labor for your farm. So, let's get going.
You going first?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Trent Bowles. I am the Ag Business Coordinator here at Gordon Cooper Technology Center. I've been in this particular position for about 2 years now, and it has been one that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and just want to say thank you and welcome to our campus, and thank you for spending your time with us, and thank you for being part of an organization that is interested in an industry and a lifestyle that I'm extremely passionate about, and that is agriculture. One of the things that we got asked to visit with you about is how to locate, how to incorporate farm labor into your particular enterprises and practices. So just out of curiosity, how many people already have a labor source on their particular operation now? So just one? Okay. Two? Perfect answer, John. Okay. And the reason why I say that is one of the things that we in agriculture have an extremely difficult time doing is valuing our own time. Okay. And we think that our time is not worth anything. It's just the cost of doing business, right? So that's one of the things that we undervalue throughout various types of production systems and production types and categories is not valuing our time. I think Johnny Kay is going to be part of a panel and a presentation on trying to better understand when to scale up. So one of the things another question that I have for those that are in attendance is how many people are considering hiring farm labor? Curious on whether or not, okay, perfect. Okay. Johnny Kay's presentation on scaling up could be of extreme benefit on whether or not you guys are in a good position to scale up and to hire that additional farm labor. One of the things that I would like to kind of pose questions for you guys to take back and think about into your own particular enterprises and operations is, one, do you have enough work on hand to where it is appeasing for a group of individuals, whether that is locally or migrant workers? I think Claudia discussed a little bit of the H-2A program, and I'm going to try not to step on anybody else's toes regarding the H-2A program on this particular panel. But one of the ways that you could probably determine whether or not, if you're prepared, is sourcing rates, sourcing the amount of work that you actually have available at your operation, and determining on whether or not your operation has the cash flow in order to actually afford to be able to hire any workers. Additionally, what may be surprising is you may be learning for the first time what you're actually valuing your time at. If you have the idea of, okay, I'm prepared to make somebody an offer to come and work for my operation at $15 an hour. And then you start running some numbers and realize there goes every single bit of your profit margin, and you start dipping into your own pocketbook. You think that your particular enterprise is doing really, really well, and then you start thinking about, okay, I've got to pay for all the things that I've been doing. What am I actually valuing my time at? So that would be one thing that I would definitely encourage you guys to sit back and think. Instead of dominating the panel, I'll go ahead and pass it along. I think we do have some questions that are prepared, and I think that we're also willing to accept questions from the audience. So I'll go ahead and let my cohort introduce himself and provide a little bit of insight as to what he does.
Hello, my name's Kobe Gazar. I'm the founder of Food and Flowers. If you're familiar with the term contract farming, it's usually used more in row cropping, big tractor type stuff. Just pay a guy to go out there and plow the field or seed the field, right? You might have too many fields. You can't get it all done in a timely manner, right? And I think when you kind of see the tools and strategies that large farming or agronomy has used over time, we can adapt a lot of the same kind of strategies for small farming or vegetable production farming. As my guys are right there, Cody and Sam, they work really hard for our clients, and as we know, timing is everything. I think I say it probably 6 times a day in vegetable production. And so sometimes your wants or your demand of your product is going to outweigh your own time, your own labor. I wish that it was 40 hours a week all year round, but that's not the truth, right? We've got about 30 weeks of good growing season here in Oklahoma. At least we could do some work a few weeks before, some few weeks after. What do we do in those other 22 weeks, I guess? What do we do in those other 22 weeks? We put in infrastructure, build greenhouses, bring water in, move compost, make compost, do fencing, any other type of integrated pest management that is needed that's really going to set your farm up for success. Vegetable production, and I guess we have done some work with some chickens, though I'm not a poultry expert. I do frame, so they like the structure. But really, finding good work, you can get a good couple days out of people, and then they kind of start showing up late and leaving early, and they get sick. You guys have probably all heard the story. It takes a lot to train, I know, emotionally, for a farm owner, especially if you have to do it 10 times a season just for one hand. And so let us kind of take that brunt. My guys are trained and certified on my own farm before I ever even bring them out to any of my clients. And so, I guess a way to kind of use, not just me, there's a handful of contract farmers probably in your town. That guy that goes out and plants the wheat, he'll likely to do all this stuff for you too. Just go talk to the guy at the feed store or the gal at the feed store and see if anybody's open to do it. But kind of how it works, throughout your week, just get a notepad on your phone or traditional notepad. I don't know if anybody uses these anymore. And just write down things like, oh, I don't have time for that, but it needs to be done. Or, just make a list. And then just Friday morning, we'll walk around, talk about any policies that you might have and any safety issues that we might have, and then let the contractor do it. Go spend time with family or work on marketing and branding and sales. And as a business owner, which all farm owners are business owners, I feel like your efforts is telling your story to your clients and selling and marketing your product, whatever that may be. So focus on the big things and let the laborers do the other stuff.
Can you hear me? Good morning, everybody. My name is Rosa Diaz, and I'm with the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission, which a lot of you know. The agency has the unemployment agency, but it's not only the unemployment agency, but we do have other different programs. So one of those programs is our migrant seasonal farm workers, and I am the community outreach coordinator for that program. And I have been with the agency for the past 14 years now, and I have been in different programs waiting the same agency. But somehow, somewhere, I have the heart right here with the migrant seasonal farm workers. Why? That is because I see the need not only of the workers, but the business owners. So we are here today to educate, to help, to see if you have any questions. Maybe not now, but later on after these meetings. So please feel free to contact us. We have a table here today, and there are several posters that you can take with you. And if you have any questions, either me or Kristen can help you to find an answer to a solution to your questions maybe or your problems. So what actually I do is I am everywhere in the community. So I get connected with a lot of other businesses. So to make sure that I'm gonna bring the right information to our migrant seasonal farm workers in the field. At times, you will see me here talking with a suit, but Claudia can tell you that I'll be going to the field in boots and jeans and a hat because I'm doing actually the field work. So part of my duties is to make sure that the migrant seasonal farm workers are treated right and have the correct information in hand. I mean, I bring those papers to them, and the business owners are supposed to teach them, to show them all of that information, but at times we are all busy and we forget about doing that part. So I go in there and make sure that they do have that information. Like what is the minimum wage, which is right now $7.50 or $7.25. And what it surprises me is that the business owner pay a lot more or triple that salary, which is beautiful to see that. Also, if they don't have, if they get sick, or maybe the business owner doesn't have money, so I connect them with the right assistance. So that's part of my job. So it keeps me busy, yes. I love it, yes. I was tired yesterday with some of you in the same bus, yes. But I enjoy it. I feel very good when I do that. I see those faces. And that's what I do. And right here, right next to me, is my supervisor and the expert in the foreign labor. So I'm gonna pass this on to Christy.
I'm Kristen Lee, also with OESC. I am the State Monitor Advocate and the Foreign Labor Certification Coordinator. What I do typically is whenever someone files for H-2A or H-2B, I handle all the paperwork. We are supposed to try to recruit U.S. workers first and just make sure everyone meets all the requirements. Then I turn it over to the Department of Labor and let them know. And then that's when the process gets started to actually bring in foreign laborers. So that's kind of what I do. The State Monitor Advocate part of it is anytime we place a U.S. worker, we have to go out and do field checks. That just makes sure that they are being paid the adverse effect wage rate, which right now it's $14.87. It changes yearly. It can go up or down. It's typically up. I've been doing this for about 9 years. I think it's gone down only once, but I have to make sure that they're getting their pay stubs, that I have to get out in the field, make sure they're being provided water and shade, that there's nothing wrong basically out in the field. They're being treated the same as U.S. workers that are present. So that's what I do. And I'll let you know that.
And after those applications are approved, there's another process to go and actually do inspection, the house inspection. And that is a very important part of this program because we cannot okay a house that doesn't have electricity, or it might have a bed for 3 people. That is a no-no. So we have to go into every single house and make sure that they do have the right conditions to live and to work in that farm.
Okay, so we do have a few poll questions, kind of some standardized questions. And we can go ahead address those at this time. I'll go ahead and let the ladies answer first. So in your experience, recent experience, what has been the most challenging part of finding farm workers?
Right now, our most challenging thing is actually locating migrant or seasonal farm workers. We have run into kind of a brick wall when it comes to locating this community. We know they're there, but a lot of employers don't really want to lose their workers, and they're afraid that we're going to try and recruit them away. When basically we want to just make sure that they have access to our services. We have connections with Legal Aid of Oklahoma, Variety Care, and just different agencies where we can provide services or get them to someone who can help them. It's not just for the farm worker, it's also for their families. A lot of them have, wives and kids. So we can also do that if they have an emergency and need gas money, something like that to get to their next job. We can get them to someone who can help with that as well. But locating this community has been the hardest thing. We just can't find them. They don't trust the government, I guess. So yeah, that has been our hardest part so far.
Kobe, I'll go ahead and jump in on this one just real quick, and then we can pass off the mic. One of the things that it seems to be a reoccurring theme, how many people have heard or have uttered the phrase, "Nobody wants to work anymore," right? Okay. That's one of the things that we here in Career Tech hear on a regular basis while we're working with business and industry across all different types and kinds of industries, regardless if that is ag, manufacturing, whatever the case may be. We hear we're constantly looking for ways to hire help. Okay. One of the things that traditionally, stereotypically, agriculturalists do a poor job of is marketing and advertising their labor needs. And it can be extremely difficult, particularly on the small scale side, because you're teeter-tottering of, hey, whether or not can I afford this? Is it really worth me bringing somebody in? What do I value my time at? And one of the things that I would definitely recommend as a mitigating factor to these trends, particularly if you're on the small scale side or even on the large side, not to jump in on Kobe's particular enterprise, but collaborating with fellow producers. If you are a small producer and maybe you don't have enough work on your own to justify to bring in either seasonal or even full-time help, maybe cooperating with some neighboring farmers and producers in order to establish enough workload and pool to justify utilizing and giving yourself a more marketable chance within the labor force. So typically in agriculture, we talk about marketing the commodities or whatever it is that we produce to sell, right? And Kobe touched on this a little bit as far as marketing yourself and telling your story as part of that product. But one of the things that we definitely see a trend in is having the ability to market your labor force needs and requirements. And that could be as simple as help wanted ads, or visiting with your surrounding entities that assist with placement. You could visit, like here at our particular Career Tech campus, we have the Central Oklahoma Workforce Board here, COWIB. We have that particular office in here that are designed and established in order to help individuals seeking labor, seeking employment with placement opportunities. Additionally, that board is designed to help the workers receive training on some particular components and aspects of trying to join the labor force. Also, it's no secret that I work here on a career tech campus, right? So we have quite the pool of talent of not only just labor, but skilled labor to some degree. One of the things that we may not consider of, hey, we've got a fence building project. I could really use some help getting some corners built, getting some corners set. My career tech campus is always welcome, has always welcomed in folks to discuss with classes of particular placement opportunities, even if it's just from a short-term perspective. Okay, so if we can establish, really market towards some of the younger generations that are working towards bettering themselves, acquiring a skill, acquiring knowledge, maybe we could put off that fence building project until the summer, or maybe we could put that off until Christmas break and tap into a younger generation of prospective workers. Okay, that's one of the ways that I would recommend mitigating. But I would definitely take a good look at your marketing strategy, and don't just look at your marketing strategy from a production perspective, but also look at the way that you're marketing yourself from potential employment perspective, because it is definitely an extremely competitive environment to get involved in trying to hire folks. So maybe you need to take some of the similar concepts from your production marketing strategy and apply those to your labor force needs. Kobe? Hang on. Sorry.
Go ahead. Ooh, sorry, that was loud. Go ahead.
You're okay. Trent, I was going to add to that.
Yep.
So at Mid-America, we have a horticulture program, and our kids have to have a 9 weeks at least on-the-job training. And it can be paid or non-paid. And so they have to have so many hours out in the field. And as a capstone project, as a second-year student in those programs, in our district, if you have to have a horticulture, floral, anything related to horticulture, those students can work for you as long, and there's some paperwork involved, but you're not, there's obviously less than liability and some things if something happens at the location, but we carry that insurance on the students. Not every technology center has a horticulture program, but we do all have a variety of programs, and so you might have an opportunity for labor there for special projects, something as some backup. And so I would encourage you, I'm in Cleveland, McLean, and Garvin County, so if you have to be in my part of the area, you can reach out to me or reach out to your technology center. I'm not gonna say every school is gonna have it with every program, but for sure look at that as a resource. And so maybe it can get you through a challenging time or something you're trying to get ramped up for the season. So again, I just wanted to throw that out there. Trent and I
Absolutely.
talked about that, but I wanted to tag on to that as well as at your technology centers. And there's 60 locations, and we have 29 schools in the state. And your ad valorem taxes pays for us to have these daytime programs as well as our evening and customized business trainings. So if you guys didn't know that, I want to make you aware of that. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I need to learn more about that myself too. I had no idea that MAC did that. So, has anybody hired anybody in the past 5 years? Raise your hand. How long were they employed with you? That first person.
With us, we get H-2A workers.
Okay,
They've been with us about 20 years,
that's awesome.
so it's a family.
Yeah, I love the H2A program. I think it's great.
I love every part of it except the federal government.
Well, I think this is a grant receiving institution, so I probably couldn't share my opinions right now, but no, I think the biggest, I know for my farm, we farm my own place and also clients as well. I think the biggest thing when I'm looking for in people is truly just a love for other people and a love to help other people. There's no telling what that task is going to be that day, but when we leave, just to know that we actually helped somebody do something that was pretty hard and maybe something that they couldn't do by themselves, just to kind of relieve that from them is really like what it's about for us. And so I would just say hiring and letting go or people quitting, I'll tell you the indicator has always been, did they love what they're doing? Do they love other people enough to sacrifice their time and their effort? You know, the younger generations, money isn't as important as it used to be. A lot of the younger generation needs kind of an idea or a mission to do, and there's no better mission, especially in a professional setting, than agriculture. I believe it's the way that we raise any community out of poverty. You start talking about profit margins on produce and produce starts. And the fact that if anybody really cares to learn, you can really do it. And so that's kind of where I'm at with it, and kind of what I push our clients into diversifying into, and also guys train for, guys and gals train for.
So our next question is, in what ways does your business assist with farms in what ways does your business assist farms with potential workers? So this is going to piggyback right off of what Jonah Kay just expressed, as far as, your ad valorem tax dollars fund our full-time programs along with the part-time evening classes and things of that nature. The way that I particularly assist with this portion of my job duties is I kind of look at my position as an information resource. Okay, my job is to connect farmers and ranchers, producers of any type, size, and scale to information. And so a lot of times what that would look like is somebody says to me, "Hey Trent, I think I'm ready I need to hire some folks. Do you know of anybody that we can hire?" I'm going to visit with our full-time staff, our full-time programs. Maybe that particular project that they're looking to hire out does fall right along in the lines of one of our full-time programs, and that could lead itself into an on-the-job training, OJT opportunity, depending on the size and scale. Just like what Jonah Kay mentioned about their horticulture program of having a 9-week, almost internship-esque scenario as far as their capstone project. We may be able to look into something along those lines. Obviously, we do have a pool of students that have made the conscious decision that they want to utilize their hands in some way, shape, form, or fashion in order to help make themselves a living. So we do have a pretty good pool of folks to begin with for those winter break, summer type jobs. Additionally, part of my research would lead me right onto the office of the lady sitting to my left. We're going to talk about some of the additional types of resources that are available to them, whether that be with the state agency, or there may also be some help along with some insurance companies like Oklahoma Farm Bureau and American Farmers and Ranchers. Some of their policy writers already have some assistance and some programs that are in place to help mitigate some of the woes of somebody first time starting out in this particular venture. So that would be one of the ways that I would view my position and my business, our business here at Gordon Cooper Technology Center in that particular fashion, is we're going to try our best in order to connect you with not only just a ton of resources, but applicable resources that's pertinent to your particular operation. Ladies?
At this point, I don't know if you guys have any questions for us. Whoops, sorry. So at this point, we don't know if you have any questions, please let us know. Yes, sir.
I've got a question. You mentioned $14.87 as the wage. How is that computed? And I assume that's the least that someone could pay?
For the H-2A program, yes. What we do, the Department of Labor requires us to do an annual prevailing wage and practices survey. Then they take the average from the data that's gathered, and typically Oklahoma gets maybe, well, we send out over 4,000 postcards and emails just to ask people to complete our survey, and typically we get between 300 to 500 responses. So we typically get lumped in with Texas, just because they've got a huge population down there. So that's how they do it, just from the data that we gather from the prevailing wage and practices survey.
Can I add to that?
Mhm.
You cannot pay them over the 1487, that is what they make per hour.
That's the rule.
That is the law. That's it.
You could pay them more, but not less, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you
Yes.
can pay them more,
You can
but,
pay more, but then you've got the paperwork and all that to do, so. And it did go down when George Bush Jr. became president, that's the only time it's gone down.
that was before my time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can give them bonuses.
you can give bonuses, you can pay more. They changed like the overtime rule, they didn't used to be eligible for overtime, but now they're completely eligible now. And then also, if you hire US workers and H-2A workers, you've got to pay them the same. You can't pay the H-2A workers differently than the US workers. You can't treat them any differently.
If they share the title,
Yeah, if they're, as long as they're hired for that job, then yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same time.
You mentioned that the availability of finding your H-2A workers has decreased, become more difficult to find them. Is that, when did it decrease? Was it pre-COVID? Was it post-COVID? Has it always been difficult?
It's always been difficult. And it's actually the migrant workers here, the U.S. workers, not the foreign laborers. But yeah, it's always been difficult just because, in the last survey, I put a question in there asking, are you aware of any migrant or seasonal farm worker populations where we can focus putting out information, trying to reach people. And someone actually called me on the phone and they said that even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you because that's their workers and they don't want them going anywhere else. And they're afraid that we're trying to take them away or maybe train them into other work. So that's some of the challenges right there. Yeah. And then also they just don't have much use for the government. It's kind of like Claudia said, no one really likes the government at all. So,
So I have a question.
mhm,
We've used the H-2A program for years.
right.
Why does the Department of Labor make it so difficult for those of us who are doing this legally? I feel like I'm being threatened every year with an audit if the trash can is not placed exactly where the rules say, if the beds don't have that much space one between the other, then I'm just scared to death all the time they're going to come in and slap me with a bunch of fines. These are their homes. They may not like the trash can there. Because I
Yeah.
can tell you, I set it up for inspection, and when the inspection is over and they get here, they don't want it that way. They want to move it around, they want to change it, so.
I hear that a
So
lot.
isn't the answer to fixing the immigration problem to be more friendly towards those of us who are doing this legally?
Yeah,
Because the reason those migrants are not coming out of the woodwork, let's be honest, a lot of them are not here legally. Okay?
And that's
Let's
true.
just say it like it is.
that is true. And we are not allowed to even, the only reason we need to know if they're here legally or not is to know where we can send them for services. State services, we aren't allowed to provide services, but we may have connections to people who can. Like variety care, I don't know if they require someone to be here legally or not. Legal aid however, can assist people in becoming legal. And so, you know, we can assist with services, but otherwise, we're not even allowed to ask. The Department of Labor, they are, I'm gonna let, you know, I can't answer for the Department of Labor or anything, yeah. They are the enforcement, we're not enforcement. When we come out, we're trying to help you avoid fines and audits and things like that. The Department of Labor, they can come out and issue those fines. So I don't know how to answer that one.
We
It's
have to
just,
hire an agency to do the paperwork for us.
the
Because
paperwork is
if we try to
difficult.
do the paperwork and one word is not what they like, they're gonna reject you. And, you know, so
Yeah.
that is
and-
expensive in and of itself.
It is. Yeah, it does cost a lot of money to file through the H-2A program, from what I understand. But that's why we get it first. We're supposed to check for any issues, you know, I've got to check, make sure you're paying them, you're offering them the transportation and subsistence amounts, that you have it in there that you're going to get them here and then send them either home or to their next work location. You know, you're gonna house them properly, you've got to, either provide them a kitchen and cooking facilities, or you have to provide them meals, and whether or not you're gonna charge them for those meals. There's all kinds of requirements, but we're trying to get you proper, and then we send it back to the Department of Labor and let them know if we have any issues. But typically, I contact the employers first and let them know of anything I see that's wrong, so they can fix it before the Department of Labor gets it.
So if an American worker comes and applies for the job and they basically answer 3 questions, yes, 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 I have to hire them. I don't have the right to do a background check. I don't have the right to do a drug until
can.
after they're hired.
You can actually put that in there, and the way people justify that, because there is a box on the form you have to file is called the ETA 790, that's the H-2A application, and there is a spot to check if you want to do a background check, and a drug screen. And people
Has
have
that
been
changed?
marking
Because
that.
I was always told that was post.
People,
Not pre.
well, it could be pre, or it could be post. I'm not positive about that. I don't have my forms right in front of me. But you can do it and say that, you know, it could be cause for immediate termination.
And I can tell you that I know it has to be post because I ended up with 2 ex-cons on my farm working.
Oh.
My farm is where I live.
Yeah,
I have my
right.
grandchildren there,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no say. I'm sitting on the transplanter with this guy, and he says to me, "Did you know you can get tax credits for hiring a felon?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't know that. How do you know?" "Well, I just got out of prison."
Yeah.
Upon which time I damn near passed out in fear because my grandchildren come to visit.
Right. Yeah, and that is there. That's true. Yeah, you can get a tax credit. You can also get a liability bond for them, in case any a liability bond is for any missing equipment, you know, tools, things like that,
I'm
cash.
sorry, I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not going to reform them. I have to provide for the safety of those other people that are working on my farm as well as my family.
Yeah.
So the whole thing needs scrapped.
I do agree. Now, you can refuse to hire them if they don't meet requirements, or if you have a really good reason not to. I have asked the Department of Labor what constitutes a good reason not to hire a U.S. worker, and I have gotten no answer from them. So, yeah, I agree with that. And the requirement is, yes, if a qualified U.S. worker applies for the job, you have to hire them, even if you've already got your H-2A laborers here. You have to send them home and let the U.S. worker
It
have
used
the
to
job.
be so many days after they came here that you
50%, yep.
which is ridiculous, but okay.
Yeah, and that goes up to the 50% date, which is halfway between the start date and the end date of the work period. Yeah, I agree with that. I've tried to find out because a lot of people, you know, they house these workers at their homes, you know, and they get leery of ex-offenders. So I do agree with you on that. I don't know how to answer because I can't get an answer from the Department of Labor. I've tried multiple
There are
times.
lawsuits in progress right now because the
Are there?
Department of Labor is trying to, say you hire somebody through the H-2A work to come and drive your truck from the field with wheat to wherever you're gonna sell it. Well, now they want them to be paid like $25 an hour for that. And so a lot of the big ag
Really?
are filing lawsuits, yeah.
Thank
Oh, okay, I haven't heard that.
Sorry. Thank you, guys. I think that that's all the time that we have for this particular session. I'm looking up and it's 11:59. I think that we're supposed to get started with lunch and our keynote speaker here pretty quick.
Just waiting a little bit.
Okay.
What happened to make it?
Yeah.
Forgot to order it.
So feel free to flag us down or come by the OESC's booth.
Yes.
And they have a table just outside of the seminar. Feel free to flag myself or Kobe down. We'll be more than happy to work with you and assist you in any way that we can. Thank you, guys.